Hey y'all, this is Angela, and welcome to the show Hodgepodge. This show is not about one thing, this show is about everything. Because in this old crazy world that we're living in, there is lots to discuss. So I hope you'll sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now let's get started with today's episode. Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of Hodgepodge with Angela. I am your host, Angela, and the last couple of podcasts have been about traditions, our Halloween tradition, our Thanksgiving tradition, and today I want to talk about, you guessed it, Christmas. And not necessarily about Christmas tradition, because I don't really think I have a tradition per se. Not like we do the other ones. My husband and I get up on Christmas morning. We don't buy for each other. We stopped buying for each other years ago just because, one, we don't need anything. And two, we have decided that that's really not what Christmas is about for us. We just enjoy our tree and our dogs and having that quiet time in the morning. And then we head over to his brother's and for Christmas with the kids. And his brother's kids, they're getting, on up in there. He has an 11-year-old and a 16-year-old. So they're getting a little older. So it's not going to be cool for the aunt and uncle to come over at some point. And then last year, something I really enjoyed was I went home to South Carolina after Christmas. Like the week after Christmas, I went after things had settled down and everything at my sister's house. And they got Santa done and out of the way and put everything away. Then I go in and we, tear things up again and all that. But I really enjoyed having that week after Christmas with my sister and her kids. And she has 4 that are still at home. Her oldest one is in the service. So thank you, honey, for your service. And thank you to all the service men and women out there for your service and the veterans. But he doesn't live in South Carolina, so I don't see him. But I only buy for the small kids under 17. And I say under 17 because my oldest nephew at home, living at my sister's, is 17. And this will be the last year that he's probably bought for. But I don't know if y'all are like me. I struggle all the time with what to buy these kids. Now, Hubby B's brother's kids, they're pretty easy. They pretty much have set things that they want, or whatever Santa's bringing them. Santa tells us what some suggestions and we can add to that. So it's pretty easy. My sister's family and kids, on the other hand, they're not so easy because they're a little more spoiled and they get stuff throughout the year. So it's really hard to buy for them. Like my nephew, we'll call him Jay. He loves expensive stuff. Like that boy loves some labels and he likes expensive stuff. Well, I can't afford that. He loves him some Lululemon and the most expensive Adidas he can buy. I don't have that kind of money. I can't do it. My niece, who is 14, she's not so expensive, but she doesn't like a lot of girly stuff. Like she doesn't like jewelry and that kind of thing. And so, but she loves her TV shows. It's just hard. It's just really hard to buy for the kids. And the 2 little girls, they're 8 and 9, and they're hard to buy for, except for my one niece that's 8. She's gotten to where she'll send me pictures of things that she wants. Like she did that for her birthday. But then I ordered something that she told me she wanted, and it came from overseas, and it didn't get here till after her birthday. But then by the time her birthday rolled around, she'd already changed her mind. She wanted something else. So she'll get that for Christmas. But it's just so hard. And it's getting harder to buy gifts for people because most people go out and they buy what they want throughout the year. And I'm guilty of it. I do the exact same thing. I see something, I save my money, I go get it. And then when somebody's like, oh, what do you want? I have nothing to tell them because I've already bought it. And then if you're like me, you get online and you see these influencers that are buying, all these expensive gifts. Like there's this one influencer I follow, y'all, and it's not even Thanksgiving yet. And her 2 boys have already gotten four-wheelers. Now, granted, they're small. They're the battery kind, but still, they got in the four-wheelers, and they just got little battery motorcycles. I mean, who does that this close to Christmas? I mean, they don't need that stuff. But anyway, she said it was a bribe, and she had to make good on her bribe. I don't know if maybe she had them packed up from Santa. I don't know. But anyway, things have just gotten out of control with gift buying over the last couple years. So it got me to thinking about memories. And my sisters always said that giving the nieces and nephews your time is more important than gifts. And now that I've gotten older, I 100% agree with that. Now, granted, the kids are small and they still I like getting. You know, if anybody asks me, says, what's something that you really like? I love devotionals. I love journals. I still like getting things. So I know that the kids do, but I've always tried to incorporate something fun. Like my sister's two kids, her older two that are at home, I used to bring them to Georgia every year at Christmas when my job allowed for me to do that. I would go pick them up. They'd come and spend a long weekend, and we would do things here in our small town. Now, granted, we don't have a lot to do, but you know, one time we went to there's a place called Lake Lanier in Georgia, and they had like snow, and we did they had fake snow because it wasn't real snow, and then they had these slides that you could slide down, and it was just so much fun. And we used to do things like that with them every year, but they've gotten older and it's gotten harder for me to go up there and come back. And I haven't done that in such a long time. But the one thing that I remember from going to South Carolina, picking up my niece and nephew and bringing them to Georgia is Jay would say to me, and he said this so many times over the years, one of his favorite things that he remembers, I'm probably going to cry, was me picking them up and us driving, sorry. Sorry. So like I said, they live in South Carolina and I live in Georgia, and he said one of the things that he remembers the most is, or out of all these Christmases, is the time that I picked them up, and it was late, you know, it's dark, and we were driving from South Carolina back to Georgia, just passing houses that were decorated for Christmas. And he says that's had been one of his favorite things. And he's remembered that. And the last time I mean, he was probably 10 or 11 when we did that. And now he's 17. And he could not tell me what I gave him for Christmas that year. But he remembers us driving back and looking at Christmas lights together. That's what he remembered. And y'all, that just really touched my heart this year, because kids are getting older, and like I said, things, you know, they're getting to the point where they don't remember what I gave them last year for Christmas, but he remembered that time that we spent that together in the car, and we would probably singing and acting crazy and everything. And it got me to thinking about some of the things that I remember from past Christmases. Like I remember one time being at my mother's house, and all of us kids were there. I have an older brother and I have a younger sister, and we were all there, and the silly Christmas tree fell on top of me because it was a Christmas tree that my stepdad had gone and gotten, and one side of it was fuller than the other. And I don't know what happened. I don't know. No one pushed it or anything, but that daggum Christmas tree fell over on top of me, and we still laugh about that. We laugh about my brother and my sister and I getting together and taking pictures, and we all had a pose that we would do. And we would do that every year at Christmas. We'd make a new picture. And those are the things that I remember, just making memories together. But I couldn't tell you what I got for Christmas. I have no remembrance of any specific Christmas item that I got. Other than one year I got some really nice jewelry. And that's the only Christmas really that I remember what I got. And it's just so important with the way things are in the world today, is just to make time and plan out things that you can do versus gift giving. Now, granted, I know, like I say, people love to get a gift, but really just spending that time with each other, especially if you're like me and you live out of state and you don't get to spend a lot of time with your family. One thing I want to do this year for my two smallest nieces that I've never done, I've never brought them to my house. It's just never worked out. And my niece that's 9, she keeps telling me, she's like, I really want to come to your house. I really want to come to your house. So I talked to my sister about it, and we're going to plan it where they can come and stay a long weekend with me and hubby B, and we're just going to have fun with them and, do some things and make memories with them outside from my sister and being at home, because I think those memories, especially for me as I get older, are so important with these kids, because they're growing up and they're not going to care. I don't want to say they're not going to care anything about me, but they're going to get to the point where they have their own lives. Like my oldest nephew, who's 29, he's got his own wife, and they'll probably be having kids soon. And while I love him dearly, but the only time I really get to talk to him is if I post something on his social media. I mean, I don't pick up the phone and call him. He doesn't pick up the phone and call me. But I want those memories to be there as these kids get older. And like I said, my nephew Jay, he will always remember, at least I hope he does, the time that, I brought him and his sister from South Carolina to Georgia, and we just looked at Christmas lights. And he remembers that. He remembers the car I had, and he just remembered that being special. And like I said, he's 17 and he still talks about that. So this year, as you're planning what to do for Christmas, think about the gift of your time. Going and picking someone up and just spending the day with them. Or, don't go to the movies, because really at the movies, you're not really, even though you're together, you're not able to talk. Go walk around somewhere downtown, or go to lunch, or, go to one of those pottery place where you can spend the time and make some pottery together, or take them to the park and play. Just think about the gift of time this year as you're planning your Christmas and your holidays celebration, because let's make this year something to remember instead of all the bad things that we've had happen in the last couple of years. And I know a lot of us have had lots of bad things in the last couple of years, but let's make the holiday season of 2022 something different by giving the gift of time. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. I hope you will share it. I hope you'll tell your friends about it. If you're not a follower of the show, please make sure that you follow along. And if you have any questions, you can always call the hotline. You can text the hotline. You can always email me at hodgepodgewithangela@gmail.com. I'm actually going to post a question in the show this time for you to share your Christmas traditions or any gift giving ideas that you may have. And as always, thanks again for joining me right here at Hodgepodge with Angela. Bye, y'all.